Today, the Tacoma gets a roof rack. Welcome back, everyone. I hope you guys are all staying healthy and safe. I'm super stoked about today's install. I'm finally going to be installing a roof rack on my 2019 TRD Off-Road Tacoma. Now, the reason I've decided to go with the DV8 roof rack is, number one, the price. For around $500, this roof rack is coming in on the low end on the price point. Number two, I love the way it mounts. It doesn't use any spacers and it really hugs the roof. Now with this roof rack, I'll also be able to mount a 45-inch light bar up front and 4 6-inch light bars on the sides. The capacity of the DV8 roof rack is about 100 pounds, so I'm not going to be running a tent on this. This will primarily be for the lights and also cargo boxes. Now, before we get started with the install, if you aren't already, make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Also like this video. Enough talking, let's run you through how to install this rack. So the DV8 rack actually will sit in this channel right here. Unlike other racks where you actually use little like spacers or whatnot, the DV8 just sit flush, which will give us a nice flush fitment. With that being said, the first thing we're going to do is completely remove the weather stripping, and we are not going to be reusing the weather stripping. So we'll start in the back, pop it up. Now, DV8 asks for this strip to be completely removed. I'm not going to do that because I do want the weather strip to stay back here, so I'm actually going to end up cutting it here to be flush with the rack. I think it's going to look a lot better. Once you have the back done, we'll just pull the front and pull the weather stripping completely off. Now the DV8 rack attaches to 2 mounting points on each side rather than the 3 which are provided. This is one of the reasons that you are only able to have a capacity of 100 pounds on the rack, but realistically you don't need more than that. You know, for me, I'm just going to be running a light bar, maybe an awning, and also, you know, just some cargo boxes up top. From the factory, there is going to be tape over all the holes, which are going to be paint matched. Just grab a knife or a pick and just puncture the tape, and then we'll be able to access the actual holes there. Okay, once we have the weather stripping off, I'll go through and clean the channel. And the next step, which I feel a lot of times is overlooked. So with these holes, these are completely exposed into your headliner. So if you don't have silicone in here, this will leak when it's raining or snowing. And a lot of people will just put silicone in here and try, threading these puppies in. And now one issue that I've read about a lot of, Tacomas, and I actually had this problem as well with one of my nuts, is that it was cross-threaded or it wasn't threaded at all. So I would recommend before you put silicone in and before you go further than this, take the provided hardware and make sure that it will thread in. Okay, so this one here is actually cross-threaded because the bolt will not go through any further. So I'm going to show you guys real quickly how I'm going to fix this. So here I have a M6 tap. We're just going to slowly start threading it in, make sure it's completely straight. One thing that's important when doing this, if for whatever reason this guy completely stops, just back it up and try again. If you force it, you can break this guy off in here and then you are screwed. You're gonna have to drill it out. And I've mentioned this before, a lot of times I do things the quick and easy way. I might not have the proper tools. So if you disagree with the way I'm doing this, just let me know in the comments below. Also, one thing to note, before you start driving this in, make sure to hit with some WD-40 or some like cutting fluid, which most people won't have, so WD-40 will just do. And there we have it, we're good to go on this guy. Next up, we're going to put the side rails into place. I'm not going to attach them. Next up, I'm going to install the bolts into these side rails. I am going to throw down some silicone as well to make sure that we don't have any leakage here. This silicone here will cure within the hour, so once I do this, I'll have to work fast to make sure I get the crossbars on. Again, this would be easier if I had someone else to help me put the crossbars on first and then move the rack to the roof, but I'm just doing it this way because I'm doing it by myself. Also, once we put the bolts in, we are just going to finger tighten them to give us room to make any adjustments we need to, and then we'll just go through once we have the crossbars on and tighten everything down. So first up, let's go through and throw some silicone on here. So I'm gonna leave this like this, so that way we do have room to move this around. I'm gonna go through and throw these bolts into the rest of the side rails, and then we'll start putting the crossbars on. Okay, next up, I'm going to install the crossbars. I'm first gonna do the rear one, then the front one, and then we'll do the mid ones. Again, this would be a lot easier if you do have someone to help you out, but I want to show you that you are able to get it done just by yourself. So as you can see, the rear crossbar, it has a provision for the fin antenna, which is awesome. So we can still have a low profile look and it'll clear it. Now we're simply just going to finger tighten everything. I'm going to use the provided nuts and bolts. Okay, we'll simply line it up. Put your bolt through. On the back end, make sure you do your washer and then the nut. Repeat this process. Now the front crossbar also acts as a wind diffuser, so we're gonna have to put this on an angle, but luckily there's already provisions for this, so we won't be able to mess it up. As far as the orientation, it's simple. Just make sure that the DV8 is facing the front. I'm gonna put this guy down. And then again, we'll just go through and throw our bolts and nuts in, just finger tight, and then we'll move on to doing the middle crossbars. Now, one of the really nice things about the DV8 rack is that the diffuser is adjustable. So when you're ready to tighten it down, you can either leave it on the lowest setting or you can just push it up and then just tighten these bolts here. So that's how you adjust it. For me, what I'll probably do is I'll probably run it on the highest setting for now, and then that might change once I get a light bar. Next up, we're going to install the crossbars. One thing to keep in mind, actually two things. So these guys are threaded, so you're essentially gonna run a bolt through the side rail into the crossbar. Also, each crossbar is numbered from 1 to 6. So your front is gonna be 1, your last one's gonna be 6. Because the side rails become narrower as it becomes to the rear, the crossbars need to match that. So just make sure when you're putting these on, you go 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm first just gonna go through and finger tighten all these crossbars. After I've done that, I'm gonna finally tighten out the side rails, and then we'll go through and tighten everything. So let's get it done real quick. Now that I have the rack installed, what I'm going to do is, with this weather stripping, rather than removing it, I'm going to cut it right here, and we'll put some double-sided tape on here, and just so that way from the rear you can still see the weather stripping, and I think it's going to look really nice. Also, one of the nice things about this weather stripping, it doesn't have the metal wire running through it, so you can easily just cut it with some shears. I'm going to come here. After we cut it, we'll throw some double-sided sticky tape on here. And there we have it, a super simple install. It took me about an hour and a half to install this on my Tacoma, primarily because I was doing it by myself, and two, I did have to tap out a couple of cross-threaded bolts on the roof. If you are considering this roof rack, I will drop a link below to where I got mine. And also, as I mentioned, I do have lights on the way, so as soon as the lights come in, I'll do another video on those. I hope you guys found this video informative and hope you enjoyed it. And if you aren't already, make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel. And until next time, I hope you guys have a great day. See ya.